Hi, friends. Welcome. Paul here. Psalm 118, verse 24. This is the day which the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This is a special message for me to bring to you. It's essentially, why is the Lord's Prayer so important to me? It's a personal message. And there are half a dozen basic reasons of why it's important. First, of course, is the fact that he came to me in a dream and told me it was important. Important for the children to take their place, and then later, as the children understand the Lord's Prayer and make it their own, he said, it will enable them to take their place. And this has been with me for probably 30 years now. But my mom, bless her heart, taught my sister and I the Lord's Prayer, and she began when we were young, quite young. I had just turned 4. And she told me one time when I asked her, well, how long did it take you to teach us the prayer, Mom? She thought, and she said, I think we worked on it all summer. But that changed my life, for sure. And now, when I turned to about age 20, he gave me an experience, a very traumatic experience, very shocking, and took me to a place of extreme pain and torment out of this life. And it was out of the land of the living. And it was, trust me, it was beyond the valley of the shadow of death. It was beyond fear. There was no Lord's Prayer there. I tried to pray the Lord's Prayer in that place. I had no ability to pray it there. And I literally saw the word terrible redefined right in front of me. And I wept severely because I could not pray the Lord's Prayer. I was in a place where there was no Lord's Prayer. Then he brought me back out of that into the land of the living. And so I saw a place that I definitely don't like, and I did do a video called Lord's Prayer for Trauma Vets because I basically, from that experience, got some PTSD. So then, as I mentioned, about 30 years ago, I had the dream where he came to me and stressed the importance of the Lord's Prayer. And another reason it's important to me is significant times in my life when I prayed the prayer that I remember, and they made a difference. The first I mentioned to you was with my mom, because we'd always prayed, now I lay me down to sleep, and that night I knew something was different. But when I was about 20 years old, 21, somewhere in there, I was helping make hay in the fields here for the farmers. And it was traditional for the farmers to put together a pretty big feast at lunchtime for all of the people that were working on the farm. And I remember going to one family's home, and they said grace at the table before we ate, but they prayed the Lord's Prayer at the table. I'd never been at table grace, a meal, the prayer before a meal, where the Lord's Prayer had been prayed. So that made quite an impression upon me. And there have been other times with family and with friends when the Lord's Prayer was appropriate to pray, and it definitely made an indelible mark on me. So I think the last piece of this is that the Lord's Prayer is basically his vision for us, for life. He has a place for us in this life to take, that he's prepared a place for us in this lifetime, and he wants us to own it. And he said, as we understood the Lord's Prayer and made it our own, it would enable us to take that place. And I did another video recently called The Lord's Prayer, Let's Get to Flourish. But in summary, owning that Lord's Prayer and making it, understanding it and making it your own, that's essentially when it becomes alive to you. You're living it. You're living the dream, if you will. And it's his dream. It's his vision for you to live that thing. So go get with him on it and have him help you define it for yourself. But this is the vision, is to live that thing larger than life. And we do have to go through our traumas to get to the life. He said that. We had to die to ourselves. So that's part and parcel of why the Lord's Prayer is so important to me. And he didn't leave us comfortless. He said, I don't leave you orphans. He'd send us another comforter. And this Lord's Prayer is definitely part of his word and meant to comfort us in that journey. So, Paul here. Enjoy the journey. Thank you for listening, as always.